Hi and good afternoon and welcome to our Facebook Live this afternoon. It is Thursday. I had to think about that for a minute. Thursday the 25th of February 2021. Welcome so much. Thank you so much for joining us and welcome to our Facebook Live. If you're joining me live today, please do comment and let me know that you're here. And if you're watching on catch up or on YouTube later on, please do comment if you have any questions and I will answer and get back to you in due course. Okay, I've just popped a message on there to make sure that it is all operating and working, and hopefully we will see what is going on. So fingers crossed. Oh dear, it's been one of those days today. It hasn't quite gone according to plan, but never mind. Hopefully we will get there. So I hope everybody is well. Today I'm using a card which I saw, a card on the internet designed by Sue Prather. I think that's how you say it, Prather. Hi Carol. And it was using these papers from the Hydrangea Hill suite. Now I used quite a lot of these papers in our class in a box at the weekend, and I wasn't quite sure what to do with these images, so I went on a scout about to see if there was some different ideas as to what to do with these. And I saw this card, so this is my variation on this card, done by Sue, and she has actually fussy cut those designs out. What is quite good is that because they've got a white background, and now we have our new basic white card, which is effectively the same colour. If you cut around here with a very small white edge, then you can place it on some white card and most of that edge will disappear. Don't know if you can see that on there. Depends on the light really. So I thought that's a good use of these designs from the reverse of these papers. Now I do like these papers, these particular two as well. And we used this in our class in a box on the weekend just gone. These were some of the cards that we made. So there's this one here. Got the idea from this one from Marie. I have in fact used this one, this patterned paper. That was the first time I'd used it on this card here with the thanks. And then the hydrangea dies on this one with the detailed flowers here. And then stamping straight onto the designer paper just with the text from the stamps. That's just a thank you. So I put this design together to see how it would work, and it seems to work really well. So what I've prepared is, so this is Seaside Spray, and I've prepared the components for Rococo Rose. So I'm actually going to use this one here. Now the papers that the ladies had were 6 inches by 12, so there's plenty of these on here. And what I've done is I've cut some layers in preparation. So I have a Rococo Rose basic card. I have a layer of Mossy Meadow, because that is the green that you see here. A layer of basic white, like so. So these are quite even differences in the margins. And then I've taken a stitched oval die and cut out some white, and to match with that I've got a scalloped oval die that's going to sit behind it like so. So although I said it's simple card making, I have actually used obviously the die cutting machine and the guillotine to cut this up, but the rest of the card is straightforward and simple. So what I'm going to do is cut up my Rococo Rose flower to start with, and then lay it onto my piece of oval card. So I'm just going to pop that there. So let's have a go. So I've got my Stampin' Up! Snips, and so all I'm going to do to start with is just cut around this, just to make it a little bit smaller and more manageable, like so. And I'm just going to fussy cut, and I know it's a weird name, isn't it? It just means you're being fussy in your cutting out. So rather than just cut a square or something around here, you're being fussier. Now if there was more space between the flowers, you could of course use a die to cut the flowers out. So if I show you this one here, if you had a die that's sort of like an oval one that fitted that size, you could actually cut the whole thing out using the die. Very often what happens though is that because they're at different angles, you don't get a clear amount, so this would have to be more circular, and then there's a risk you'd catch the other bits and pieces. So just going to do this fussy cutting. Well, it's been a lovely day here today. I hope it's been lovely with you too. Sun has been shining. It's quite mild, although I suspect quite a bit cooler as soon as that sun goes in, but it is 5:10 and it's still beautifully light. Thank you for the thumbs up. So I'm not going into every single nook and cranny around here. I'm just trying to keep a sort of fairly gentle flow around the stamps. Like so. Let's cut that little bit off there. So it's very, very pretty soft watercolour effect. So the colours in this paper is Rococo Rose, Seaside Spray, Highland Heather, which is this one here, and Mossy Meadow for the green. So there is my fussy cut piece. So I'm just going to pop that on there. Now in the hydrangea set there are some small sentiments, so I could either add a small sentiment in here, or I could centralize that and add my sentiment further down. Because this is oval rather than the square, you get a different sort of layout look altogether. Okay. Now I do have some ribbon, so I've got some of the green Mossy Meadow ribbon that you could do a little bow with, or you could sort of do a little bow behind the oval. On this one here I used our matching Seaside Spray ribbon in there and Mossy Meadow for my sentiment here. So let's stick this down. Now this has also got Highland heather in it, so you could use a different ribbon for that. Now the key is to make sure that you flatten this down nicely and that you add glue all the way round so that you get a really snug fit on your paper. Hello Carol G. Got my two Carols with me this afternoon. Like so. So let's do that. So I'm just going to use some Tombow glue. Just take that little edge off. Or not. Oops, there we go. I hope you're well, Carol. So just make sure you're going into those edges. You don't want to get too close or have too much glue. You don't want it coming out. And if you feel you have a little bit too much on there, or it's too near the edge, just use a scrap of paper and just use the edge of that, like so. Okay, make sure you put that scrap in the bin straight away. Okay, so I think I'm going to have this at a little angle, like so. There we go. And then what you want is a nice nice bit of pressure on to make sure these edges are nice and tidy and they don't lift up. Bit of gardening. Excellent. Excellent. Gardening, recycling and FaceTime for Carol. Well done, Carol G. So I'm just pressing this down. This is why you don't want too much glue on there. You can see a little bit there. I might need my glue adhesive remover. So there we go. So I don't know if you can see, but it's very difficult to see well, you can see just on this edge here where that begins, but if you were looking at the whole thing, you know, generally you wouldn't necessarily see that. So let's pop this up on dimensionals. So the oval shape comes from the stitched layered, Carol's still at work, yes. The stitched shapes dies, and I would say that if you were a beginner die cutter, that would be the go-to set of dies I would use, because it has 12 dies, 4 circles, 4 ovals and 4 squares. Squares obviously you can turn sort of at 90 degrees and create you know, a diamond, that's the word. Okay, so this is going to go on there. Now you could, if you wanted to, put this, I'm quite tempted, put this one straight onto there and put this through an embossing folder. Okay, so this was the one that I used that Sue Prather had generated, but if you don't like so much white space, I could change that and pop this through an embossing folder. So let me find an embossing folder just because I can. So we've got the Tasteful Textile one that makes it looks like fabric, and I've got this one here, the ornate floral with the tiny little flowers on, so I think I'm going to do that one. I think that would work. So let me just do that. Sorry, I wasn't planning on using them, but I'm just thinking that would look really nice. So bear with me while I do that. So the ornate floral is what I'm going to use. And pop that through. Like so. Grab my layers. There we are. Sorry about that. Nothing like a change of plan on the day, is there? So I've got this one now with the embossing. Hope you can see that. And then this one is going to go onto there. And so I can use my green ribbon. That will particularly work now because obviously we're seeing more of the green. And I will just grab, I've got one of these here from the Hydrangea set that would work nicely at the bottom. So let me find the stamp set, which I put already. Well, what do you think I've done with it now? I know it is right in front of me. There it is. No, it's not. A sweet ice cream. Okay. Plan B. If it will fit, I'm going to use this Hello from Vine Design. This is one that I'm using actually for our next class. Oh yes, I think that will fit. So our next class in a box has been released, and you can find details of that on my website, geminicrafts.co.uk. Okay. So I could use Rococo Rose, or I could use Mossy Meadow. Let's bring in that Rococo Rose. So I've got 3 layers of Rococo Rose really, 1, 2, and then 3 together. Or I could use Mossy Meadow. I could do one of each actually and see. Let me just stamp this down here. It's a nice hello. There we go. Now the other Rococo Rose ribbon I've got is quite thick, so I am going to stick with this one. This is just an offcut, so I'm just going to do a little bow and put this together. So I had quite a long Facebook Live yesterday, so I'm going to keep this one short and sweet for you. That's 1, 2, there we go. So I haven't stuck this down yet. So So I can have that in the centre, or maybe on there. What do you think? Let's put these layers on ready anyway. I could put a white layer behind that. Let me have a look and see if that will pop that out. What do you think, with or without the white? I think I'm going to do it with. I'll cut it out ready, and then if you decide, just measure this layer, see what size I've got here. .35 by 13.85 with white. Thank you. So I have used a white layer just underneath the green rather than on top. Just goes to show. So we've got that way, like so, this and that. Looks quite old-fashioned really, doesn't it? Let's just use some glue. So the white's going down first. Thank you, I'm glad we're all in agreement this afternoon. So make sure your card is facing the right way around. It does look like a cameo, doesn't it? You're right. Haven't seen cameo type cards for ages. It's like many of these things, isn't it? They go through phases of, you know, style and designs and things like that. So here's our mossy meadow with our texture on it. Let's use the wet glue as well on this. So I want a nice strong seal, although that will work with the seal anyway, like so. It is actually nice for older ladies. This is something my mum would appreciate, I think, that whole style. I can just see a little bit of glue on the edge, so I'm just going to remove that with my crafty first aid kit. And in here is our adhesive remover. I know it looks like flapjack, but promise you it isn't. I don't know where everybody has gone to this afternoon. Must have had a better offer. I was going to live on YouTube, but I want to do a little bit more setting up and making sure that everybody has the link first. So that's why I'm still back on Facebook. So I'm just using a brushing motion, and I tend to always do it in the same direction. I don't know why. I'm sure you don't need to do it, but just make sure that it's going in one direction so you're not actually applying more glue by accident if there's any sort of stuck on the edge here. There we go. And I think that needs some wink of Stella on our flowers. So I'm looking forward to the weekend when we have our Let's Get Creative weekend, which is again this time round another virtual craft day that I run with 2 of my team members, and this time it's the lovely Lynn Eaton and Tara. So all the boxes bar one, there's always one, isn't there, have been delivered to their recipients, and some have opened them and some have left them as a surprise. So I shall be doing that all Saturday, and I'll be back for my craft and chat on Sunday. Okay, so there is some Wink of Stella on that one. I'm going to do the same while I'm here on this one with the hydrangeas. There we go. Just on the, I'm just doing that one on the flowers themselves, like so. That's it, and then I can just put these together. So yes, I have cut out these images and obviously cut out the layers. Let's put that one on dimensionals as well, but you could just cut them out with a craft knife. So if you didn't have die cutting machine or anything, you could just cut them with a craft knife, or if you've got any ready-made layers to go, you could use those. Let's put one in the middle, support that. So as I say, for those who do my Hydrangea Hill class, if you're not quite sure what to do with these papers, this just gives you another idea. There we go. And I can just see the tiniest amounts of glue on here. And I think because it's white on white, it's showing up. There we go. So here's my little bow. I'm just going to use glue dots for that. There's that one. Like so. And here's my sentiment, which you could either put bottom right or you could put central. I think I'm going to put it central. Like so. There we go. Thank you for the thumbs up. Always appreciated. So there we are, that is the square, this is the oval, and I have got another quick variation to do if you'd like to see it in the circle. And this time I've got Highland Heather, and let me find my piece of card to cut out. Not that one. How did these things just disappear right in front of my eyes? It's crazy. Here it is. It's because I turned it over. There's the Highland Heather one. Oh dear. Hey ho. So I'm just going to very quickly pop around this one. And again, I've used the Stitch Shapes dies. So I've used the largest of each of those. And then the coordinating scallop from the matching die set. So there is one set of circles, one set of ovals, and one set of squares. And of course we have our own rectangles as well. So just really quickly, as I say, I'm not being massively careful. Thank you, Carol G. Just hopping around there. Turn the paper rather than the scissors. If you see, I'm keeping my right hand fairly straight and just moving the left hand bit of paper like so. And then bring this round here. It's not like me to do this much fussy cutting, is it? But there we go. That's it. There we are. So there's that one, and what I want to do on this one is actually put a sentiment on here. So I'm thinking if I just angle it like that, I've got space for a sentiment. Could really do with finding the stamp set that I intend to use. But of course, here it is. Because this has got some nice little sentiments for you with love, and there's a little thank you, and I'm thinking that would fit in nicely on there. So there's the thank you. And actually going to keep that one out as well. So it's a small block for my thank you and a bit of gorgeous grape. And I'm actually going to stamp the card as well with these little flowers. This might be a little bit too small actually. going to go with that. So what I'm going to do is use this cute little flower stamp, which I used in the class, around the edge of one of the cards. This is so cute. You can see that on there. And because I've got a circle in the middle, I don't need to do the whole section. I can work my way round. You see that? How pretty that is? And I'm just rotating the stamp so I can use the point of it in the gaps. And there's like a sort of flat edge on one side. And I don't mind if they go over each other either. Fold this one over. And there is an individual single flower. There we go. Put the green behind, so it's just peeking out, it's just a small amount of that. I'm happy with that. So let's mount these two up together. I can just see a little gap I want to fill in there and there. Move my ink pad out of the way and then layer these up. So I'm going to put this one flat, and I've got some gorgeous grape ribbon I can use for this. There we go, so that's going to go onto there like that. I can just see smallest gap in there. There we are. This is going to go on dimensionals, and that's our third card. So I've got one with ovals, one with circles, one with a square, and we are all done. Now this is what my mum would like, because purples are her favourite, purples and mauves, like that. And my mum and dad used to have a whole line of hydrangeas in the front of the garden where I grew up. So I think she would appreciate that. And what I should have done was put this on first so I could give it a good amount of pressure, but it will be fine. So a small amount of glue, but all the way over the back, so you don't get anything popping up out of the way. So I'm just going to press that down. Do it on the reverse, on the clean bit of paper, not using my fingers to stick it down if I've got sticky fingers. and cut my piece of ribbon that's fallen. There we go. It's that lovely, gorgeous, great ribbon. Isn't that lovely? So just going to do a little bow with that and attach it, and we're done. So 3 cards in just over 40 minutes, as opposed to yesterday, which was 1 card, but it was a little bit more complex, that's for sure. This ribbon does fold and work really nicely. Do recommend this. There we go. And I did sharpen my scissors yesterday. To keep this out of the way of my little thank you. So I might put that a little bit higher. There we go. So let me know which is your favourite. Do you like the square, the oval, or the round? So this has got a white background, this has got the embossed background, and this has got a stamped background. So unintentionally I've done three slightly different designs. Oh, I'll show you how I sharpen my scissors, Carol. I have a scissor sharpener that I wouldn't be without. All 3. Carol likes all 3. They're all quite different, aren't they? So this is my scissor sharpener. It's made by Fiskars. I bought it online. That's probably the only place you could get it at the moment. And basically it's designed for specifically for scissors. And all you do is run the scissors in there as if you're cutting, and it's got a metal piece there, and I think about 5 is all you need to sharpen your scissors. You can use them for any size of scissors as long as they fit in here, and you'll see the difference straight away. She says I might need to do mine a little bit more. But that tip there, actually it's got dirt on it, so I do recommend that. Yeah, Fiskars scissor sharpener. Wasn't expensive. I've had it for years, and yeah, it's got a metal post in there with the serrated edge to get them nice and sharp. And the other thing you must do, not only is keep them sharp, is keep them clean as well. So you can use WD-40 to clean them, or you could use an alcohol wipe if you have one of those. Either of those. Okay, so those are my cards. I'm not quite sure. I quite like this one, but then I know that's because my mum would like that, I think. So in order, I think that one, and then that one. But there we go. Anyway, that is all for today. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been a quiet one this afternoon. I hope we're not missing anything critical that's going on in the world. But if it is, I'm sure we'll soon find out. So thank you so much for joining me today. Really appreciate your company. I shall be back tomorrow live at 5. I'll still be on Facebook for this week, and I'll get everything sorted for YouTube for next week. So thank you so much for joining me. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon and evening. Take care, stay safe, and I hope you can keep crafting. Thank you, everybody. Bye bye.